while you were reporting live.
While I was reporting live, I was on live television, and somebody just comes and puts a gun to your head and just says, who are you? Are you Hamas? Are you Hamas? Are you Palestinian? And then how do you deal with that situation? So you just handle it as calmly as you can. You take out your identity card. The Israeli army had given us an identity card. The Israeli government, that your foreign journalists covering.
Sometimes even that didn't work.
And sometimes that didn't work. I mean, such was the tension. And everyone's on tenterhooks. 1,400 people have been massacred. Rockets are falling every day. There is tension in the air. And no one trusts anyone, because people think that there are people here who are guiding the bombs.
Absolutely. Shweta, this was a country where we were reporting from. It was a country at an emotional peak.
Right.
People were on edge. So as reporters, we know we are not the story, but we also had to contain our own sense of, how we speak, how much probing to actually do with common Israelis.
Correct.
This was difficult.
And that is where they tell you that you don't have to be neutral, you have to be objective.
Exactly.
And that is what we did. We were confused for doing your own camera. So sometimes you keep your mic ID separate, and even the Israelis thought that you are part of a particular group. The discerning viewers would know which group we are talking about, and they would say, are you that particular channel? A Middle Eastern channel. And we would say, no, then we take out the ID, we show India Today, and they realize, okay, you are India. Similarly, when I was in parts of Palestine, East Jerusalem and Ramallah, they wanted to know, are you representing Israel?
Correct.
So it is a tough situation for a single journalist who is traveling there with nobody to translate. There are just a couple of words that you would know in Israeli or in Palestinian, in Arabic, and you have to live that way. And amidst that, I think it was more difficult for the India Today journalists because everybody understands English. When we were speaking in Hindi, we were more protected because we could stand in Palestinian territory and talk about the terror of Hamas, and we could stand in Israeli territory and we could talk about the human rights issues that are coming up against them, or the unpopularity of Netanyahu these days.
And it's something we saw up close, believe me, Israel being a democracy and the things we saw during the protests, etc. But before I come to the, to the sentiment on the ground, I want to ask you, Ashu, about the detentions, the work of a war reporter in a place like this. When you land there, you're flying blind, you don't know anyone, very few contacts. The Israeli government helps in some ways. The Palestinian authorities, when you're there, help in some ways. But otherwise, you are in a very, very difficult area. You can be detained at any time. And I think all four of us at some point or the other were held back, were detained, were questioned, and that became normal.
So, totally going to in a conflict zone where there are, two organizations, the two military are in a war zone. So there are apprehensions. They don't know you, you don't know them. You don't speak Hebrew, they'll ask you, who do you support? Do you support Israel or not? At the moment, what are you going to say? You have to take at least a line to save your life. And when I was detained, I remember in Ashkelon near the Mediterranean Sea, they told me later that had you put your hand in your pocket later, we would probably have shot. Considering that probably I'm taking my weapons out, and then because you're wearing a bulletproof jacket, a helmet,
you have to ask permission. May I take out my wallet?
Yes. So immediately the moment this, I heard something, and the first thing was to just raise your hand. And then 45-minute detention. On the way, multiple times, several people we have seen being searched. But that's the apprehension and concern, because even they have the concern. There have been infiltration. There have been massive intrusion of those terrorists from those different organizations in the civilians. And that was the concern, that probably they will try to create some kind of ruckus or even attack the civilians. So that when that concern comes, we also as a journalist have to understand. So that's the only thing: gather yourself, maintain calm, respond all questions, present your ID, present your identity. So it indeed has been a tough time.